All right, we're back on Morning Line. It's our final segment with our guest, Clint Kelly, taking your calls on malpractice. And I'll tell you what, a lot of calls this morning for you.
Yeah.
You know, see if we get some ideas. Keep them coming. And I'll have contact information for you, by the way, for Clint and his office if you want to follow up with any questions with him on possible cases. Let's go to Sandy. Hi, Sandy.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. What can we do for you?
I just had a comment. About 25 years ago, I had a tubal ligation after I had my last child, and I was supposed to be asleep during this procedure, and I lay there and listened to them tell me what movies they were going to rent for that weekend, and, you know, back in the VHS days, and they were just talking about it the whole time, and I couldn't move a muscle. I felt them sewing me up and everything, but anyway, I became a registered nurse years after that, and I was one for 20 years, and I can tell you that what these people were saying goes on all the time. And I just wanted to make that comment, and just people beware that these medical people are just like the rest of the community. They act like them, and most of them are very professional, but you get some that are not quite so. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, that, Sandy, I was going to ask you because I understand it, whether you are an auto mechanic, a journalist in a newsroom. I mean, there's chit-chat and stuff going on while we're writing. Now, it's usually not going to be awful stuff. So I expect that doctors are going to be talking during surgery, not just about the surgery itself, but if it's routine, they may ask each other questions about things. The question is, does it go to the level of the case that Clint was talking about, where they get very ugly and nasty? And you've heard some cases like that?
I certainly have. I've heard more than I wanted to hear. I surely have.
Yeah.
I was on the medical surgical floor for 20 years, and I've heard just about everything come out of doctors' mouths. So, yeah, it happens all the time. If patients could hear some of the stuff that was said, well, the public has no clue what really goes on. So.
Yeah.
Just beware.
Yeah, listen, thank you for your call. I appreciate someone who's been there. There's nothing you can do about it.
Told you.
Well, I didn't doubt it, but at the same time, I'm not going to like if some doctor's insulting me while they're doing some procedure. But if they do the procedure right and save my life and solve the problem or whatever the issue is, I don't like the fact that they've insulted me while I'm unconscious. But as long as that's where it ends, you know, and I don't know, I guess I can live with that.
You have thicker skin than some other people who don't have.
Well, I'm just saying I won't know about it as long as my primary concern when I'm in the OR is that they're doing a good job on the procedure. If the periphery stuff while they're doing an excellent job on the procedure is, boy, this guy's goofy looking, you know, I don't like that, but
as long as they're not taking a selfie.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't like that either.
Something like that with you when you're under with your. Well, your tail hanging out without the gown on and something
Clint,
like
the
that.
fact is,
or something going in your record.
There's nothing. Well, yeah. Now, once it goes public, but if it doesn't go public, and you know that's the point. This case made news because it went public because that phone slipped in there and they got it. Okay, and you know, there's nothing you and I can do about it. You go into surgery tomorrow. There's really nothing you can do. You got to guess that maybe someone's going to make cracks about you. Who knows?
Right.
And there's nothing you can do about it if you can't get proof of it. Right?
No.
No. Nuts.
You can't sue over what you don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go to Thelma. Hi, Thelma.
Hi.
Go ahead, Thelma. What's your question?
I had surgery like last year.
Yeah.
And I went to one doctor, and he said that he had took care of the problem.
What's the problem?
What was the problem?
I had abscesses in my breast.
Okay.
And then when I went, he gave me antibiotics. But he gave me antibiotics that I told him would not work. And he said, well, take the antibiotics, but they didn't work.
Okay.
So I ended up getting septic. And I had to have major surgery. So now I'm wondering, did he not do what he was supposed to do?
Okay. Let's keep Thelma on.
All right.
Thelma, did you keep your breasts?
Did you keep your breasts, Thelma, or did you have to have them removed?
Well, I had the options of having them removed.
So you did have them removed?
I had the option of having them removed. Oh. Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right.
But I still have the same problem.
Okay.
Was this a plastic surgery procedure?
Was the problem the result of plastic surgery?
Well, they said it's a thing of abscesses.
Oh, okay. So I don't think she had augmentation. She had abscesses in her breast.
When did you have surgery, Thelma?
No, I've had 4 surgeries.
Okay. And what was the date? Last year? When was that?
It was.
You remember what month?
It was in June, I think.
Maybe in June? All right. Well, you know, we can get you. What do you think on this? I mean, well, Thelma, stay on the line there, and we'll see if we can get the number, because it may take more time to go through this.
Yeah, Thelma, you can call my office and ask to speak to Pat, and she'll take some information from me, because it's hard for me to tell right now. You know, if you lost your breast over an abscess because of an antibiotic issue, it's a little too hard right now for me to tell. But it's in terms of giving the wrong antibiotic. I mean, if you tell the doctor an antibiotic, a particular antibiotic doesn't work, or you're allergic to it, and you get it anyway, and you don't know that you're taking it, then that could be a problem. But you know, Nick, you and I've talked about this as well. Infections are just rampant in hospitals right now, and it's one of those risks that you take when you go in and have surgery. People don't like to know that; they don't like to hear it, but it's the truth. Staphs and MRSA can be killers, or they can cause some serious problems, and it's really not the hospital or doctor's fault unless it's mismanaged, unless the infection itself is mismanaged.
Yeah. All right. So, well, listen, just Thelma, stay there on the horn, or stay with us, and we'll get your contact information, or we'll put Clint's number up at the end of the show. Let's go quick now to Rhonda, I think, or let's see, who is it? Oh, I'm sorry, David. Hey, David. Go ahead, David. Are you there, David?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Call and let you know after what that nurse said.
Yeah.
I had that same experience with my mother and father, them being not getting the best medical or professional care, and there were things that were done that I thought were egregious. And these medical professionals need to know families and love their mothers and dads and things like that. And when you making jokes about them as if their life don't matter anymore, not everybody's going to take that and handle it in a civil manner, and they need to really take that into account, because you're dealing with people's loved ones. It's bad enough they're seeing their health decline, but when big doctors and so-called professionals are making jokes, operating or whatever, that is totally uncalled for, and somebody needs to do something about it.
All right, listen, David, I'm with you, and I'm trying to think about being in your shoes, and if I found someone doing that with one of my parents going through a procedure, or a loved one, I'd be furious. And I know exactly what you're implying there, but as you said, Clint, in this case, that doctor paid $500,000. The key is getting proof, and somehow David apparently heard some comments about his parents, or overheard something that he didn't like. If that happened, I would be in that doctor's face.
Well, again, as you noted, he had his medical records in essence falsified, with a diagnosis that didn't exist, and if he hadn't had that recording, he'd have never known.
Yeah. David, thank you for your call. I hear what you're saying. Stan, go ahead real quick. Can you ask a question real fast? Are you there, Stan?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Go ahead real quick, Stan, because we just got a couple seconds here.
Very simple. You remember just a little while back when a psychiatrist got fired for something y'all had on your channel. Anyways, what happens to the records when a doctor loses their license and you can't find out where your records are?
Whoa.
Yeah, does that happen sometimes?
I can think of a circumstance where a doctor would leave and take the medical records with him or her to another location, which is, it sounds like what he's talking about. Just because you lose your license, if you can find that doctor or that clinic, you should be able to get your records, or if it's affiliated with a hospital, you should. But I can think of circumstances where a doctor would pick up his tent and move somewhere else and take the records with him.
And to get licensed in another state, you mean, or something? That's what they do. They bounce from state to state.
Yeah.
And then if you don't know where they go, you're toast. It's gone.
Like that anesthesiologist who, you know, with that colonoscopy, she picked up from Kentucky and went to Florida.
Okay.
And, you know, presumably they could get her records because she worked at the hospital, but that happens a lot when a doctor leaves under circumstances.
And if they do,
like
now
that.
if you track the doctor down, I mean, they have to provide you with your records. Is that a law?
By law, yes, they do.
By law, they
Every
do.
state has a law that you can get your records. It's federal law.
They're your records. You deserve to get them. But the key here is tracking them down. So the answer to your question, Stan, is you got to find where they're at. And sometimes they'll vanish on you.
Well, it's a scary situation. Your doctor loses his or her license. That's some.
Yeah, if that happens, whether it's because of something you've done or otherwise.
I hope they didn't have to stand.
Wow. Hey, listen. Remind folks where your office is and how they can contact you. And we'll put it up again later as I wrap things up. Go ahead.
I'm in Hendersonville, and my phone number is 615-824-3703. And I tell every time we have this show, if you think that you have been injured, seriously injured by medical neglect or someone in your family has, pick up the phone and call. It costs you nothing to get an opinion.
Yeah. Don't wait, because there's a statute of limitations on most of those cases. Thelma will probably be calling you, maybe some others who have been watching. Clint, as always, it's a pleasure, my friend.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you. Have a great 4th of July.
You too.
All right. We'll be back with a programming note right after this. Stay with us.